Hey everyone, this is Seven Fingers coming to you with a video on Loadout and tips and tricks for such. Now, this is a must-see video, so tell your friends and family, everything else, you definitely need to listen to this. Loadout is everything. You will die without the right loadout, I guarantee you. And this is only for multiplayer, so it doesn't affect anything else. So go to your loadout, weapons. Okay, let me go to my multiplayer first and then go to loadout. See, I have 5 slots open. I can use any of these 5 slots because I've advanced far enough. So in my first slot I have this particular gun. It's a good gun. It shoots a lot of bullets. It's got good damage, good accuracy. It's one of the ones that I switch back and forth from that to different ones for different occasions. Second, I have this one. I have this one at all times. I never change it. It's my long range gun. It's awesome. Love it. Okay, now, this is something you need to know. This is a tip that you have to pay attention to. You can put different optics on this. So if I take this off, it goes to the regular scope. That's a good thing because it has more field of view. I mean, it enhances it more than this one does. The thing about this one is when you scope on an enemy, it turns red. So it shows very clearly. The other thing, this is the key on this, okay? Now, if you go into your settings, sensitivity, okay? If you set your sensitivity up using that particular gun with that particular scope, and then you switch and go back to the scope that comes with the gun, your sensitivity is going to be jacked. It's going to be completely different. So, for instance, my sensitivity is set so it works perfect with this gun, with this scope. If I take this scope off and I go with the factory scope, it's way too fast. So you need to adjust your sensitivity again when using the factory scope. Very important, because you will get to a point where, for instance, you pick up somebody else's gun. They have a scope on it. Their scope might be the enhanced one, or it might be the factory one. If it's the factory one, you're going to hate it. So just be aware of that. Another thing on scopes. This gun right here, one of my favorite. Never put a scope on it. Always go with either the holograph or the red dot. Holograph is king. That goes with any of these. Never put a scope on any of these. Anything that's fully automatic, you do not want a scope. Unless you're using it for a ranged weapon. Because if you get into an up close, you scope up, you're going to die because you won't be able to react fast enough. So, stick with a holograph for any of your automatic weapons. It's just that simple. Knowing your loadout, what weapon you want for which area is key. Now you have your secondary weapon, knife, gun, whatever. Those are pretty important too, but not as important. I mean, that just goes with what you feel most comfortable using. Same thing with your tactical weapons. You have many different ones. Whatever you feel is best suited for you is what you should take. Speaking of that, I'm going to change that one because I don't like it. So, loadout, loadout, loadout. Same thing with grenades. You have 3 different kinds of grenades. You have the regular grenades, which are your frag grenades. You have your sticky grenade, which when you throw it, it sticks to whatever you throw it at. And you have the trip mines. I prefer the sticky and the trip. The reason for that is, say somebody puts a machine gun turret up. With a sticky one, you can throw it and stick it to it and blow it up. With a trip mine, you can throw that out in an area where you know the enemies are going to come from, and as soon as they go past it, it kills them. So, secondary, flashbang, smoke grenade, it's whatever. Not that important. But like I said, loadout, very, very, very important. Now, the way I have mine set up is I have one that I can interchange. My full-time, all the time, full-time, all the time, full-time, all the time, full-time, all the time. Now, one great thing about this one, your M4G series, or M4 in whatever series, is it's a 3-round burst. So this can be used very well for a ranged weapon. So if you wanted to put a scope on that, use it for a ranged weapon, go for it. I wouldn't suggest it because you have the actual sniper rifles, but hey, that's just me. You can use this just as well for ranged on most areas. Another thing is, just because it has a color to it, like electric, lemon drop, ribbon explosion, April Fools, all that kind of stuff, does not mean it has any special characters. What I mean by that is this AK-47 red triangle is just red triangle camo. It gives you no special ability. Whereas if you go with the AK-47 red action, same exact gun, different variable. This has your increased weapon firing range, your kills are broadcasted with effects, These are special to that gun. So try to pick something that has special characters. And I wish that guy would quit. So, that being said, I'm going to show you Team Deathmatch and Frontline are the exact same. I haven't seen anything different between the two of them. Except for you spawn differently in each. Domination, you try to hold A, B, and C. Search and destroy, practical versus AI, or practice versus AI, that's a new one. That's a good place to practice. So, those are your different things. Now, your maps. Sniper rifle, awesome. Nuketown, sniper rifle, awesome. Standoff, sniper rifle, awesome. Crash, give and take. Crossfire, sniper rifle, awesome. Standoff, give and take. Takeoff, give and take. I do not suggest it for raid. I do not suggest it for hijacked. So, that's up to you. So, know which weapon you do best with, or weapons you do best with for each of these different maps, and make your loadout for each. Now, I have mine set up to where I can use any of these maps and my loadout will work for any of them. That makes it easy. Another thing, say you don't know your weapons, you're brand new. Perfect. You go to practice versus AI and you can figure stuff out. They used to have a game called the gun game. I wish they'd bring that back, because that gave you the ability to get into a game. It gave you a weapon to start with. Each time you killed somebody, it gave you a different weapon, and it went through a lot of different weapons, including pistols and knives. So it gave you a chance to get familiar with all the different ones. Now you have to do the AI version, I guess. So, that's that. Very important, learn your loadout. Learn what works. Learn what works best for each map for you. That's key. Battle Royal, your loadout means nothing, because you go into it without any weapons, so you're finding weapons as you go. Multiplayer is the only thing that it affects. Ranked match, same thing, but for ranked match, until you get to a certain level, your maps are locked. Or they used to be. Yep, they're locked still. So, for ranked match, you definitely have to have your loadouts for each of the different maps that you might be going into. That's why I said loadout, very important. And don't forget, like I said, when you're doing your weapons, no scopes on anything automatic, unless you actually have a reason. On any of your sniper rifles, go with the Go with the factory scope is fine, but like I said, you have to adjust your settings for that scope. Otherwise, it's going to be way too fast. If you use the one scope all the time, like I do, it shows up your enemies in red. Adjust it for that, and you're good. But like I said, unless you want to keep on readjusting your scope settings, just go with the one that you get when you upgrade. It's your 4th upgrade. So as soon as you get that, put it on and go for it. Another thing real quick, on your automatic weapons, make sure you use the foregrip, because you'll be able to control your weapon a lot better using that foregrip. Unlike PUBG, where a lot of your weapons are really hard to control, in this game the weapons are actually more stable, like they're supposed to be from like real life. So even if you have none of these attachments, you can still control it pretty well if you have, good motor skills. But put a foregrip on it and you'll be able to control it even better. Definitely put the armor piercing bullets on it, because it does more damage. For, like, say for instance, my sniper rifle. If I hit 2 people, if I hit one guy and there's another guy behind him, I can kill both of them. If I take that off, I can't. So that's a good trick. That's about it for the tips and tricks on your loadouts. Get to know your weapons, figure out what works best for you. And granted, when you first start, you might only get, I think you get 2 loadouts if I remember right. And then you have to gain each one as you progress. So, for instance, myself, sniper rifle, if I have one, and M16 is a great weapon. Or your M4G series, or M4, great weapon. ASM 10, great. M4 LMG, great. Now, I will say that your M4 LMG, your M4, your HG40, your RPD, your AKS, your LK24 are all pretty easy to control. When you get into the PDW, your MSMC, your AK-47s, they're a little bit harder to control. So that's just a heads up for starting out until you get used to them. So there you have it. That's your loadout. Like I said, It's a big thing. So, now that you know, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and I will see you in the next video. I'm going to do a couple videos of gameplay to show you what the different maps are and to give you kind of tricks and tips on each of the maps. So stay tuned for next time, and like, subscribe. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm always willing to help make you better. And that is all for now.